Welcome back to our candidate interview series. Today we're with Scott Osteen, who's running for Supervisor of Elections. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You ready to get started?
I am.
All right. First question, what are your top goals if you're elected?
So I've said since day one that my top goal is to get our young people involved. Our last primary election in Gilchrist County, about 14% turnout between the ages of 18 and 30. That's just not sustainable. We've got to figure out a way to get young people back involved in our process. And the only way I know to do that is to be in our schools, to start at a young age, to teach them and show them the importance of our electoral process. That's been lost for whatever reason. And it's not just in Gilchrist County, it's nationwide. But we've got to start somewhere in getting them back involved and showing them that they're the next generation. And if they're not involved, we stand to lose our republic. President Truman once said that it's not the hand that pens the law that controls the destiny of our country. It's the hand that casts the ballot. We've got to teach our young people that.
What are the biggest issues you think the Supervisor of Elections office needs to address?
Yeah, I don't think there's any big issues. I think there are some smaller issues that I'd like to maybe see addressed. Space. Just in visiting the office, you can see that that they're running low on space in that office, and that's not going to get any better. Gilchrist County is continuing to grow. I think people understand what a great country, or county we live in, and they're coming here in droves, and so that's not going to get any better. So we're going to need to work to address some space.
Mm-hmm. What are some changes you'd like to make if you're elected?
And getting right back to that, so I would work with the county to try and find a space outside of the courthouse. And for a multitude of reasons. One, I want to see, bigger space to address that problem. But two, I think that, we have the Supervisor of Elections office inside of a courthouse that's cumbersome to get to. We have to go past an armed guard. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with protecting our courthouse and protecting our, our judges, and grateful for the law enforcement officers that do that. But it can be somewhat intimidating for some folks I just want to go register to vote. I just want to go, whatever I need to do inside of that office, and to have to go through all of those steps. If we can put the tax collector outside of the courthouse, I think we put the Supervisor of Elections office outside of it. And then also I would like to see if we're going to do early voting. I think it's great that we have one location, again, back inside the courthouse. So folks that are on this end of the county up towards Bell, it's a little bit of a drive. So let's see about maybe getting a second location and making it a little easier for our folks to vote. So if we're looking at, dwindling numbers of people showing up to vote, make it easy for them to vote, as long as we're registered.
Right. What are the biggest challenges you think the county faces right now, whether it's in terms of voting or anything else?
So I took this question outside of the Supervisor of Elections office, and I was just jobs. The biggest hurdle that we face in Gilchrist County is jobs. Over 70% of our employee folks in Gilchrist County drive outside of the county for their job. That's an issue. We're spending an exorbitant amount of time on the road to get to our job. So if they're working in Gainesville, they're 45 minutes to an hour. That's an hour and a half to 2 hours a week. I'm sorry, an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, 500 hours a year that we could be spending with our loved ones, with our kids here in our county, spending our money that we made in our county. I think that jobs are a problem. We've got to have some leaders that are going to look to attract some businesses that will employ our folks. Our biggest export every year is our children. We raise some phenomenal human beings in this county, and then we watch them leave because we don't have a place for them to work, or at least not a suitable job for them to work that meets that quality of life that we expect and want to see here. So that to me is our biggest hurdle. We've got to find a way to attract some jobs.
What are some things that you think the Supervisor of Elections office is doing well right now?
I think they do a really good job of quickly returning, the vote, an accurate vote count on the night of elections. Again, I said a minute ago, I don't know any really big issues that go on with the Supervisor of Elections office. I think they do a good job.
What makes you the best candidate for the position?
As a veteran that served overseas, I've seen firsthand what it looks like when you don't live in a free country. And I want to be able to take those experiences and, again, going back to the first question, I want to be able to take those experiences and express that to our young people, to our next generation of leaders, and hopefully inspire them to step up and lead. I mean, they're the next in line, and we've got to inspire that in them. And I think that, as a veteran in this race, I'm just a little uniquely positioned to say, hey, I've been there, I've seen it. And this is not a lifestyle you want. You want what we have. People are dying to get into our country because of our form of government and the freedoms that we enjoy here. And you guys are the next in line for that, to protect it. And you've got to step up and do that. And they need to be inspired to do that. And I think that I can do a good job of that.
What experience do you bring that will help you if you're elected?
So I've worked in some type of leadership role most of my life. Back to right out of high school as a state FFA officer, to my time in the military, when I was at Santa Fe College as student body president, to my current job, working as the executive director of the Nature Coast Business Development Council. I've always been in some type of leadership role, and the job of the Supervisor of Elections is to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and to lead the great staff that's in place there, and make sure that our elections come off without a hitch, and that the people believe in our system. And I think I can do that.
What can the citizens of Gilchrist County expect from Scott Osteen, Supervisor of Elections?
So just going right back to those same things, you can expect to have a leader that will work tirelessly to make sure all of those things that we've talked about are done. And again, I want to really harp on this, specifically making sure that we get into our schools and that we are tirelessly working to inspire that next generation of leader to step up. Typically speaking, in Gilchrist County, our leaders, our county commissioners, were from here. We have very few that are elected that are not from here. So, our next generation is going to come from here, and we need to inspire that one that may not step up, but if they get a little bit of inspiration and they see somebody that, inspired them to do a good job, that they'll step up and be that next generational leader. And you can expect me to do that tirelessly.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about so far that you feel like everybody needs to know?
No, I think we covered it pretty good. I mean, I don't have anything. Do you have any other questions for me?
I think that's it. All right. That's Scott Osteen for Supervisor of Elections.